When should you go see a dermatologist? Honestly, my easy answer is, unless you think you have skin cancer, don't. Okay, first a disclaimer. I do not mean this video to be disrespectful to dermatologists. They can save lives. Skin cancer is no joke. Here's the issue. Somewhere along the line, facials and estheticians became sort of known as like a luxury item. And while you can absolutely have a relaxing time in a facial, that's not all that it is. Why is it that when somebody has a skin issue, our first thought is, I need to go see a doctor? To me, this speaks to our sort of negative health culture that we have, which is chemicals, medicine, doctors before anything else. So here's my problem with the dermatologist. They are doctors, right? They are almost always going to jump to a fast, easy solution first. I say they are either going to drug or they're gonna cut. That's what they do. These are all actual scenarios that I have seen and dealt with. A 17-year-old boy struggling with acne, he goes to the dermatologist and is automatically put on 2 different topical acne medicines. No further discussion, no further follow-up. A 30-year-old woman goes to the dermatologist for a mole check. The doctor notices a little bit of acne, so she's automatically put on a retinol and a testosterone-reducing medication. A 50-year-old woman who has a darker skin tone, struggling with hyperpigmentation, dark spots on the skin. She goes to the dermatologist seeking advice. They recommend laser treatments. A 40-year-old woman goes to the dermatologist for a regular checkup. The doctor prescribes her retinol for acne. The woman has no acne. She had 2 small pimples the day that she went to go see the dermatologist. A 60-year-old woman who goes to the doctor because of flaky, sort of scabby spots on the skin. She thinks they may be cancer. It's not cancer, just keratosis, a buildup of dead skin cells. The doctor removes them anyways. And believe me, I could go on and on. So let's unpack a few of these scenarios. Let's start with the medication. In my opinion, way too many teens are put on medication as the very first step. Here's what can happen with things like a topical acne medication. They can absolutely work. There is a reason they are prescribed, but what they do is they dry you out intensely. Once your skin is extremely dried out, then it can become oversensitized and suddenly we're dealing with all kinds of issues and irritations. Or the other thing that can happen is it dries out your skin, and because your skin needs moisture, it overproduces oil, and guess what comes back? The acne. I have seen a lot of topical drug medications that end up having a cyclical effect. Now let's talk about something like ACCUTANE. ACCUTANE is a very, very intense drug. It is systemic, meaning it goes all the way through your body. And truthfully, we don't really even know all the effects of what ACCUTANE does to your system. Does ACCUTANE work? Yeah, I've seen several clients who were once prescribed ACCUTANE and it definitely helped to get rid of their severe acne. But oftentimes there are other issues, like being oversensitized or more irritations later on down the road. In my opinion, ACCUTANE should be an absolute last resort. The other issue is, why are these drugs being given out without any discussion of diet, lifestyle, skincare, and getting facials? Now let's take a look at the 2 women who were put on retinol. Now, depending on the product, retinol can be very, very intense. Does retinol have a place? Absolutely. It can be super beneficial and helpful, but it can also be too much and too sensitizing for some people, and yet it's sort of given out like candy. Again, my other issue with this scenario is that no discussion was had about diet, lifestyle, skincare that they're using, and the possibility of getting facials instead of jumping to an intense product or medication. In the case of the woman with hyperpigmentation, if you have a darker skin tone, you are extremely prone to what we call PIH, which is post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. You can sort of guess what that is based on the name. After an injury, so to speak, just like laser would be, or even an intense chemical peel, your skin has an inflammatory response, sends a lot of skin cells to try and heal itself, but also sends melanin in those skin cells, and so you develop more dark spots because of the treatment. With darker skin tones, you have to be really careful with what type of treatment you are doing or recommending. Finally, let's take the case of the dermatologist cutting off something on the skin. This is very common for dermatologists to do, whether it's just an area that looks like it could be cancer and they're just being careful or safe, whether it is something like keratosis, a buildup of dead skin cells, or something like a wart. When you're cutting something off of the skin, you're essentially injuring this very specific area, right? Well, what is the skin going to do? It's going to do what it does best, which is heal itself. It's going to send a ton of skin cells to that area because it thinks we're in trouble, fix it, fix it, fix it. So it sends a lot of skin cells, and guess what you have again? Keratosis, because you've triggered cell reproduction, but only in that one area. So once again, it's going to be a problem. Now, as estheticians, we like to say that when we do something like a peel, a chemical peel, we are doing a controlled injury, but over the entire face. So you're triggering cell reproduction, but evenly. We like to say it's sort of like sounding the alarm without sending for the fire department and the ambulance. This can also happen with warts. People go into the dermatologist with warts and they cut them off or burn them off, but you're not getting to the very base problem of the wart, so they come back. Pro tip, that's why I like to use essential oils to fix warts, because it's actually getting down to the base of the problem. But that's for a different video. The bottom line is, dermatologists are almost always going to choose a fast and an easy solution. But fast is not always the best option. Estheticians can absolutely help and treat skin conditions. If you are dealing with things like rosacea, hyperpigmentation, severe acne, redness, a compromised skin barrier, we can definitely help with all of those things. It may take longer to fix. I am going to use things like really good skincare, beneficial treatments, and regular facials, but I'm also going to take a more holistic approach. I like to look at everything from diet, lifestyle, exercise, water intake, your hormones. I prefer to look at the whole body when I'm focusing on treating the issue so that I really get a full picture of what we are dealing with. I like to say, you didn't develop hyperpigmentation overnight, it's not going to be treated overnight, and nor should it be. We should all be concerned about the medication that we are putting in and on our body. I think we should strive to do things as naturally as possible if we can. Drugs should be a last resort. Bottom line, you guys, there is nothing wrong with seeing an esthetician first. If I think it's something like skin cancer, a staph infection, MRSA, shingles, I will absolutely tell you, you need to go see a dermatologist. There are 100% things that I cannot treat. There is a difference between a skin condition, which estheticians can help with, or a skin disease, which needs to go see a dermatologist. But a good esthetician will send you to a doctor if that's necessary. So when should you go see a dermatologist? If you think you have skin cancer, if you need a mole checked, by all means, go see a dermatologist. If you are dealing with a skin condition, go see an esthetician first. It is not just about fluff and relaxation. We can offer real treatment and results. Okay, I'm off my soapbox. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.